Hey guys, how you doing? Back at you again with another movie review. Definitely not the last one you're going to be seeing in the next few days, but this one I wanted to talk about. I don't think I have as much to say about this one, but I think it would have been a disservice if I didn't get on here and talk about Is God Is, directed by Aleshea Harris, starring Kara Young, Mallori Johnson, Janelle Monáe, Erica Alexander, Michael T. Williamson, Josiah Cross, Vivica A. Fox, and Sterling K. Brown. And this follows two twin sisters who go to see their dying mother all these years after the unfortunate event that occurred with their father burning them. And basically she asks her daughters to take retribution out on him for her, and I guess you could say for themselves, and the disfigurement that they've experienced ever since. And so this is a very interesting film, one that is very bold in execution and one that is very, very distinct, which is why I wanted to get on here and talk about it, because I really do think that this is such a fresh voice in the world of cinema from Aleshea Harris. This was adapted from a play that she wrote, and so I find it really interesting because it feels like it's so much more suited to the big screen than the theater, but I could kind of see how it could play, in a theater venue. But I'm afraid that when it comes to theater venues as in regards to cinemas, it hasn't been playing as well. It's been underperforming at the box office, and I think that's quite a shame because movies that are this original need to be celebrated. And I think this one is such a mishmash of all these different tones, whether it be comedic, whether it be more of a thriller, whether it be more of a horror film in a lot of ways. This movie jumps between a lot of things. Sometimes it kind of stumbles in a couple spots, not in the sense that it derails it at all, because I really do feel like by the end of this film I was really, really wrapped up in the drama. And it's really the dynamic between the two twins played by Kara Young and Mallori Johnson, who are destined to be stars. And I didn't really know this until right before recording this, that Kara Young already has 2 Tony Awards. So maybe she's already more on the rise than I would have known, but I really want to see her in more movies. She's in another movie, which I will talk about soon here. And I really do feel like her boisterous energy and charisma and, give no fucks attitude for this character really comes across in such a big way. She's so charismatic, but she really carries that unhinged energy, which I think makes her performance very exciting. Where Mallori Johnson, on the other hand, is a much more reserved, much more patient, much more considerate character, even though the love and that bond that they have for one another is so inseparable and unbreakable. I really feel that this is such great writing for these twins. There's even these scenes where they kind of telepathically communicate with each other just by looking at each other. They know what they're saying and the subtitles come up on screen. I thought that was kind of fun. Sometimes it didn't work for me 100%. As is some of the humor here, but some of it is really, really great. And I really feel like what also elevates this film is its all-star black ensemble. I believe this is an entirely black-led film, and I really, love to see that. And everybody really brings it here. There's one particularly memorable scene with Erica Alexander, which was absolutely hysterical. One of the best bits in the entire movie. Michael T. Williamson gets a really, really essential part of the story as well. But I really feel like the standouts outside our 2 leads, of course, are Vivica A. Fox, who they call God, which, kind of gives the whole movie its title, is really, really amazing. Great to see her back. I didn't even recognize her on screen, but she, even in her brief screen time, leaves such an emotional impact over the entire movie. Really is the catalyst of this narrative, you could say, as is Sterling K. Brown, who plays their diabolical father, the main villain of this story. And my goodness, is this an inspired bit of casting if I've ever seen it, because obviously we know him for playing these very, very virtuous types of characters, but this really might be it is one of his best performances on film, if not his best. I don't know. I really do think that he deserves an Oscar nomination for this, and I know it's very early in the year. I know I was already talking about Indy Neverett for Obsession, But this guy is amazing, and the more I see him in movies, the more I absolutely fall in love with this guy as an actor. His character, I think, it kind of reminds me of William Hurt in A History of Violence, in the sense of where he's positioned in the film. Because he doesn't really show up until closer to the end, but he is absolutely terrifying when he's on screen, and he's so captivating. I think even more so than William Hurt. It's less of a transformational performance than him in that film, but I also think what helps Sterling K. Brown is his presence kind of looms over the entire narrative, considering that this is a revenge story about, these daughters taking revenge on their father. And I just think that his work here is so utterly captivating every second. It's so unpredictable what he's going to do in his brief amount of screen time. And I think that is the definition of a tremendous supporting performance. He's even better in this than the movie he was nominated for the Academy Awards. So I really feel like this is going to be one that's going to be overlooked, but absolutely anybody who sees it will agree that Sterling K. Brown steals this entire movie and just sends it over the moon. Really, I think that's the reason why you watch this film, but also the filmmaking here. Like I said, it's hitting so many different things, but it's so well directed at certain moments that it's just so captivating to watch. And you really get swept up in everything that is going on. I also have to shout out, of course, my queen, Janelle Monáe. Always gotta give her props when she's in a movie. But I think that's the one thing, her storyline was really interesting, but ultimately I felt it was very underdeveloped. And especially for someone who's as considerably talented as Janelle Monáe is, I think it's kind of a disservice to her. But I think really she still brings it 100%. She's another, very, very strong point of this film. Even in her brief screen time. And another particular high point of this film that I have to shout out is the score from Joseph Shirley, which is so ambitious in regards to its instrumentals. It really does feel like there's a bit of jazz avant-garde in there, kind of, some callbacks to the scores of Terence Blanchard, and also Ludwig Göransson. There was a lot of sinners in this that I really wasn't expecting it. It's kind of bluesy and infused with that sort of style, and I really feel like it is one of the most standout scores of the entire year. Very innovative in a lot of ways, and I really do hope that I continue to see Joseph Shirley scoring movies in the years to come. I really do feel like there's a lot of jokes that just didn't really land for me, or creative decisions that didn't really fully realize. This movie does shoot a couple blanks, but it's shooting so many shots that the shots that hit, I really do feel make this all the worthwhile. This is such a distinct vision, like I said, and I feel like this kind of cinema should be celebrated, considering everything that is, wrapped up in it. And also this movie features the best usage of the Sunshine Makers I've ever seen. And if you don't know what that is, it's a public domain cartoon that was on all the Cartoon Craze DVDs back in the day, which I have a long history with. And it's something that I thought, oh, only I know this, but apparently not. And probably the only time anybody's ever used it in a film. But my goodness, when you talk about reappropriating a film for another film, I feel like this is the best way you could ever do it. I never thought that I would be feeling this way about watching the Sunshine Makers in a movie. That's all I'm going to say. I already went on long enough about the Sunshine Makers, but I really do feel this movie is so effective. And I feel like if Aleshea Harris keeps going at the rate that she's going, she is going to make something truly monumental in the years to come. I really feel like this is a voice to look out for, which is why I had to talk about Is God Is on this channel. Please go see it in theaters if it's still playing near you. I believe it is playing in a lot of theaters, but this is one that I'm not saying you will absolutely love, but some might, and I really feel like last weekend when it did come out, it really helped fuel my belief that it was the best weekend for movies so far in 2026. So I'm going to give Is God Is 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this one. Yet again, not perfect, but there's so much to admire about it. I think it's absolutely worth a watch, and I think a lot of you will enjoy it as well. So let me know what you thought about it. If you did see Is God Is in theaters, are you planning on seeing it after this review? Were you planning on seeing it anyway? Would love to hear all that and more. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more movie reviews, and next up should be The Mandalorian and Grogu. But please, bear with me here. There's a lot going on, and I really want to get into that one because what I have to say about it in the current state of Star Wars as a franchise is something I really want to dive into. So please look forward to that, as well as my review for I Love Boosters, the latest film from Boots Riley. So thank you for tuning in once again, and I shall talk to you in the next one.